Hi, it's Andy. It's Saturday morning here at Mont Saint Marie, and we're the race club folks are heading out this morning to do some work because it looks like there might be training for the kids starting next Saturday. But hey, one of the things I'll be talking about when I'm working with these folks is just an ongoing education about what it means to be a volunteer in alpine ski racing and how much fun it is for people to work together to make the sport better for our athletes. So anyway, just I want to talk this morning just a little bit about some of the things that are on this card because I've lately been criticized that uh, uh, for jury discussions and how the need to reach consensus. So I'd like to speak about that a bit this morning. Yeah, so I've come up under some criticism here in the Ottawa area following a presentation I did at the all hands meeting in I guess it was in November, and it was about the case study was about obstruction, but it was really about how to drive a jury towards consensus and the right thing. So some people were concerned about my language, which so I now I've got a Netflix kids profile. So everything's working out there. But I just have to caution some of those folks that were on the call. If you're offended by some of my language, don't watch anything with Seth Rogen. And whatever you do, do not watch Knocked Up. It was on TV last night. My goodness gracious. The Heart Institute would be just full of people. Anyway, I circulate these cards, and it was up on the screen a little bit before, and it really speaks to the types of leadership that folks need to take into account. And I've been circulating these for the last, I guess I started last year, so I give them out to people. And safe and fair, rules, rules, rules. Decide with authority, see everything, act and confirm, clarity, precise and concise, think and react, thank you, and repeat. And I give those out to people so that it's an aid memoir on how they can be a better official. So here's the thing. Now, a lot of people on the call, very sophisticated officials. There were 3, 4 FIS TDs, a lot of level 4s, level 3s from around the Outaouais region. Pretty sophisticated guys. They've been out and around. They know things, and they've also hung around me and people like other technical delegates. And we host a lot of races here at Mont Saint Marie. People take a revolving um, responsibility for different positions. So everybody's pretty well experienced. But there are some folks that they just don't get out much. So probably the biggest race they've ever been to is a regional U16 race. Maybe they've been to a provincial event, but not likely participated in any kind of meaningful way other than the standing at the bottom and cheering. My goodness, we have one level. I think he's a level 4 in the region. I've never seen him working at a race. Only time I ever see him is standing at the bottom watching people. So unless you participate, it's really hard to get a feel for the sport. And if you only do one assignment a year, that's really hard to stay in the game. But here's the thing about jury discussions. You don't have a lot of time. There's always something to be doing. If you want to get together a jury together during the race, well, the race is still going. Okay, or even before, even after the race, if it's part of a race series and you got races the next day, there's lots of things going on. TD's got a lot of work to do. Chief of race has a lot to work to do. The referees, same thing. So you don't have a lot of time to drive a jury towards consensus. And when you're the technical delegate, you're supposed to be the smartest guy on the hill, smartest person on the hill. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying guy on the hill, but you know what I mean. Um, but a TD needs to know the rules. Where's my rule book here? I'm only I've only got a stack of them around here that I give up to people. It's funny, this guy that filed the grievance against me, his ICR, if he's ever opened it, might even have my name in it. Who knows? Anyway, You don't have a lot of time. The TD is supposed to know the rules. When I go to a FIS race or a NORAM, even a World Cup, they look at me. I'm the rules guy. I mean, I'm expected to be the expert on this. And it's really hard to call a friend when you're dealing with unique situations and you're the technical delegate, because there's nobody to call. Unless they've been in the exact same situation before. I had a situation a few years ago where it appeared I was over quota for the race, and I had just had too many athletes to meet the guidelines, and there was nobody to call. There was nobody at home in Alpine Canada. There was just nobody. I could call a friend who's knowledgeable, and they say, Andy, here's the rule, and they point out and say 140 is your max. But I know I could. Anyway, I resolved the issue in my own mind. Got several calls, even one technical delegate who was stepping in from a distance and trying to influence things. I called, hey, I've got a call from head of domestic operations from Alpine Canada when I was on the hill during the race, trying to read the rules to me. I said, I know how to read, but my job is to drive a truck through those rules and get to the right event. And anyway, I was all confirmed by FIS. Of course, Andy, you were right. So, hey, but you don't have a lot of time. And here, even published in the technical memorandum for the technical delegate, which is a little red document it's not red, little red. It's hardly ever read by folks, but it talks about not erring, always leaning towards the benefit of the athlete, always leaning that way for fairness. There's 2 out of the 10 TD rules here in section number 7. There's 10. Here's number 6. If in doubt, professional start for reruns, false starts, etc. Observing, listening, and asking questions. Exhaust all information channels. And there's another section. The jury should strive for unanimous jury decisions whenever possible, but before the jury reaches the all possible information should be gathered and used during jury deliberation. You don't have a lot of time to get all that done when you got to move fast. So that means, and by the way, I've never had, in all my years as a technical, I've never had a split jury. I've never had to vote at odds with one of my peer members of the jury. Just doesn't happen. They look to you and say, okay, what's the rule? And okay, this is the rule. Yep, that's where you go. Are you sure about that? Yes, I'm sure about that. If they have a different opinion, I show them in the ICR. I use all the information available to me, and we come to a quick decision. But believe me, there's no room for a long, drawn-out discussion. That's how you lose races. If a jury can't come to a quick decision, and if someone says, by the way, coercion is not an evil twin to consensus. It's how you reach consensus. If you have a disagreement and you're trying to move everybody towards the same conclusion, the only way to get people there is to coerce them, educate and coerce them over to the correct way, the right answer. Now, in this case study that they were complaining about, 40% of the people on the call were wrong just to start. They were just pure wrong. Then even after partway presentation, we were down to 30%, and still at the end of the presentation, 20% of the officials on that call still voted not to allow a rerun. It was I couldn't believe it. You're just telling people, say, this is the rule. But this is what happens when people don't get out much. This also happens when you're at local regional races where you're the technical delegate, but you have peer knowledge with maybe 50 people that are at the race, maybe 30, who knows? But the fact of the matter is there's nobody that's willing to stand above the fray and say, no, this is how you do it. If you offend people when you're trying to drive towards the correct answer, is that a bad thing? No, it just means that you have to force people, based on your experience and your knowledge of the sport, to drive to a fair and equitable answer to a problem. Okay, coercion, big deal. Hey, you're the referee, you've never been here before? Oh, and this referee that's filed this complaint about me, the guy's been in the sport forever. He's a remora eel of ski racing, because I've never seen him contribute anything. And as a referee, the guy, he's complaining about how I approach solving problems. The guy's never been a referee beyond our region. He's never stepped up any levels in all the years he's been doing this. But somehow that gives him the right to complain about the way I approach solving problems. And believe me, he's in the minority when it comes to folks around the world. A lot of peer technical delegates. Well, we have different methods of approaching resolution to issues. Mine might be unique in the fraternity of technical delegates, but that's what makes me me. And I know early on in my career, race administrators, oh my goodness, they never liked me the first time I was there. In fact, most of them hated me. Second time I come back like 4 or 5 years later, they go, oh, thank God you're back. Those guys that were in the, like, oh my goodness, why didn't you come back? Anyway, that's it. And I always told them, I said, if coaches and athletes are complaining about me, I'll listen. But until then, I'll just continue doing the things. And I know that athletes particularly appreciate it when I'm around, because things tend to happen. Things tend to go better for those kids. Hey, people think I'm harsh on sanctions. I love a sanction. It gives you a unique opportunity to talk to athletes in a friendly way, and have them remember later in life. They'll remember my sanctions because they're unique, and they're not necessarily harmful to, no, they're never harmful. I would try to make them fun. Point out that they were wrong. Don't do it again. Don't do it again when I'm around. Don't do it again even if I ever hear about it. But I have athletes 10, 12, 15 years later reminding me that I had sanctioned them and what the sanction was. I'm pretty sure they tell their friends that stories too. So look, hey, these are important. You might disagree with them. I don't care. Those are mine. And but I don't see you handing out cards like this to remind officials to how to approach their job. And this group of folks that I'm going to be talking to this morning when I talk about this, I don't see anybody else talking to them regularly about how you benefit our sport by being a good official and knowing your rules and knowing how a ski race should operate. So today we're moving BNet around. One of the favorite things that I enjoy at ski races is skiing around with stuff, and it'll be fun. Tomorrow we're putting up BNet, so I'm hoping today we can do a video and put it up on the big screen in the finish pavilion so that everybody will know, hey, this is the way we do BNet in a COVID-19 world. And if you're not going to do it this way, I'll be standing over there. Okay? It's as simple as that. I don't want any part of it. Okay? Hey, so that's just a short little, no, it's a long rant. But look, education is important. Approaching problem solving is important. Driving people towards consensus is really important, and do it any way you can. I was at a race. A fellow reminded me, it was a timer. He said, Andy, remember that time at, named a resort? And I said, I don't know. And he said, yeah. Remember you came down, you locked the timer, you locked us in the timing building? And this fellow said, you know, Andy, they're not going to like this. And I said, Gerald, I didn't come here to make friends. I came here to put on a really good ski race. And he goes, yeah, that's the way it is. Hey, have a good day. No, have a good day.